myself when I first stepped off the boat. Walking through Dili, like, there was just that, sense of not knowing.
This is the story of two companies of Australian soldiers, separated by over 60 years. Their actions inextricably bound by a debt of honour. "24 years after Indonesia invaded East Timor, the population was finally allowed an election to decide its own future.
We are anticipating that there may be some disquiet at our arrival.
While it may have seemed that Australia was liberating this vulnerable country, in fact, the Australian Army owed a huge debt to the Timorese people. A 60-year-old debt, incurred in the Second World War.
Every man that was on Timor with the second owes their life to the Timorese. Why in the name of God should a people help us when they could see quite plainly that the Japanese had everything? They had motor transport, they had warships, they had aeroplanes, and all the Australians had was the backside out of their pants.
Each soldier would have a young East Timorese man called a criado as a sort of an offsider. That person would guide the commando, help the commando carry his overwhelmingly heavy kit, take them to shelter, find food for them, sometimes pick them up when they were wounded and spirit them away, and sometimes give their lives. It was a wonderful example of simple heroism and the bond between people of vastly different cultures.
By February 1942, the commandos of the Second Independence were hiding in the Timorese mountains, surrounded by thousands of Japanese. 60 years later, in exactly the same inhospitable mountains, the soldiers of 3-2 Charlie are also facing significant danger.
I know a little bit about the Australian soldiers that served over here in the Second World War. Actually, my grandfather was a couple of islands across at New Guinea. That's another great thing, that we've both now served in the same part of the country. And a lot of the older folk here actually remember Australian soldiers from Second World War.
The independence ambushes against the Japanese were the stuff of legends. With a fighting force of less than 300, they killed almost 1,500 Japanese. They lost only 14 lives.
When we left, the Australian Air Force dropped leaflets saying, "We will remember you." And a few months after our departure, the Japanese slaughtered 40,000 Timorese.
After the end of World War II, the Portuguese resumed colonial rule in East Timor. In the mid-1970s, Portugal allowed the East Timorese to form political parties. Fighting between two parties, Fretland and UDT, broke out in 1975, and the Portuguese withdrew from the country. Fretland declared Timorese independence in November 1975. 2 weeks later, there was a full-scale invasion of East Timor by Indonesia.
In 1975, Australia supported Indonesia to take control of East Timor. You can imagine my emotion. I was an Australian in my country. I was betraying the Timorese.